Paralysis by analysis. That's what you get from the other guys, but not here, not now, and not ever. This is the Septa Baseball Insiders Show presented by BCWSA. A look deep inside the game from a former player's perspective. The Septa Baseball Insiders Show is brought to you by Dion Square, Septa, Pat Dion Beverage, Penn Community Bank, and BCWSA. Let's go live and get set for the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Now, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazer and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
All right, welcome to Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. We are live from Passastote at Citizens Bank Park. I'm John Brazer, Director of Fun and Games, joined by the great Tommy Greene. Titi, how you doing?
You're a kind man by saying that, Mr. Brazer.
Well, you know why I'm kind man? Because the Fightin' Phils had a good week. We've had some up and down weeks. Right?
You are in a cheery mood today.
Well, I got my daughter here.
Yeah.
I went to see Diesel last night.
Yeah, you were telling me all about that.
We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
I hear you.
But we Fightin' Phils right now have won 9 straight road games. They've won 6 of the last 8 games. They've won 12 of the last 16 games. They're 44-38, so 6 games over 500. They have a +7 run differential. Now, we were way back.
See, you're ready to talk baseball, aren't you?
I am. Well,
how about that, Chris? What do you think about that?
Well, we sweep the Cubs, right? We lose a painful one on Friday to the Nationals.
We needed to win that one.
We won a crazy comeback on Sunday. We sweep the Cubs. We lose a bad one, but then we come back and just absolutely destroy the Nationals yesterday.
It must have looked like a beach ball yesterday a little bit coming at them.
You know what it was?
And you know what the sad thing about it? The guy who pitched against him, Mackenzie Gore, is from my high school.
And Mackenzie Gore is a guy who came over to the Nationals in the Soto trade.
Soto trade, you're exactly right.
He's a good
great
young
arm.
pitcher.
Yeah, he's a good pitcher. He's had a good year so far, but not yesterday.
Well, we'll talk about this.
The fighting's got him.
Friday night, we couldn't buy a hit. Couldn't buy it. We'll talk about it. But yesterday, all the bloops that wouldn't fall in, right? Yesterday, every bloop fell in. It was like the baseball gods were in our favor. So it worked out great. All right, we have a great show because we can talk about the epic comeback on last Sunday. We can talk about the sweep of the Cubs. We can talk about that offensive outburst that was yesterday. But we also have guests today, Tommy. Now, it was just mentioned that last week that the Phillies will be playing in London for the London series, right? We'll be playing the Mets on June 8th and 9th.
That's going to be you're trying to go over there, aren't you?
Well, we're going to be doing a radio show, Tommy. So
I know, but are you trying to get we involved?
Oh, I'm definitely going to weasel my way in there. Whether
that sounds like a Brazer right there.
Podcast, radio, WIP, something.
Oh, we got to put Chris in our suitcase.
Chris, can you fit in our suitcase? All right. Yes. Southwest Airlines. We're going to fly. Maybe he could go as a kid, right? He kind of looks young.
Yeah, he does.
Kids can fly like
you got to shave, though. You got to shave.
But we have Dave Shaw. We've had him on early. I think it was in April when we had him on. Who's the UK Phillies Twitter guy. Also has a great podcast. Tell us all about the London series last weekend. We are going to have a very interesting guest. Also, we have James Seltzer. James Seltzer is one of the co-hosts of the High Hopes podcast. You can also hear him on WIP's morning show, but he's going to fill in for Lauber and give us his take on the Phillies. We are now at the halfway point. We are one game over the halfway point, right? We played 82 games. So he is going to help us assess where the Phillies stand, where we're heading, and, again, give us his whole scenario and what we maybe need to do in the trade deadline. But also we have
nothing's ever enough around here. You know that, right?
I know. I listened to
nothing's
talk radio the last couple days.
Enough.
But also we're going to have James on today because on Wednesday he made TMZ, he made ESPN, he made all kinds of national news. You know why, Tommy?
Why?
He took on Jason Kelce in a charity chugging contest.
Well, I'd rather there's a lose-lose right there, isn't it?
That it was supposed to be, we'll have him describe it, but it was supposed to be 12 ounces. But it ended up being
that's a walk in the park.
It ended up being a 32-ouncer.
Wow.
And he wasn't ready for it.
Good and cold, too?
And
I hope so.
Jason Kelce slammed that down in like 5 seconds, 6 seconds. And
that's not shocking.
And James got beat. But James supposedly is a very good – so we will talk about that as well. We're going to have
his nickname's Funnel Man.
He must be able to open his throat, right? If you're a good chugger, you got to open your throat and kind of. All right, and then also we have, as always, since we're home here, we have Jason Firestone, who's going to be coming by now. Last week he came by with the Fred Flintstone turkey leg, which was outstanding, right? I stayed here after the game. After our show,
you licked the bone, didn't you?
And I licked the bone. But then you know who came wandering over here? You had left. Irmer, I think, was still cleaning up. But we had Sarge comes over.
Oh, Sarge could nose it in.
And Sarge is like, "Hey guys, what are you doing?"
The vulture.
And he is a vulture. I said, "Oh, we just wrapped up our radio show." He's like, and he sees the food, and I said, "Sarge, sit down." I said, "Would you like a turkey leg?" And he said, "Oh, you've already eaten part of it." I said, "Yeah, but I just took one slice off it with a knife, so you're good." He's like, "All right." Next thing you know, he spent about 20 minutes here chowing down on that turkey leg.
Oh, yeah. The vulture come out. I'm all over Sarge next time. That's his nickname.
The vulture. I love it. And we'll get you set up, obviously, for today's rubber match. Doesn't seem like a rubber match after yesterday's beatdown, but good pitching lineup for us today.
Yeah.
But let's go right into yesterday. As you mentioned, your hometown guy, Mackenzie Gore, on the mound. And
felt sort of sorry for him yesterday, but not but so much. Though.
Yeah, you can't. Come on, Tommy.
Not but so much.
You can't feel sorry for the guy. All right, this might be one of the earliest I've done this, but it's time.
You got to remember, I worked with the kid when he was 12.
I know. Yeah. And you're from Whiteville, in a small town. All right, Tommy, it is time now for the Smart Stat of the Week, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. All right, here is your Smart Stat of the Week. Phillies scored 19 runs for the first time since scoring 20 runs against Miami on April 7, 2018. Yesterday was the first time 7 or more Phillies scored multiple runs in a game since that game. It is the 44th game since 1901 in which the Phillies have scored 19 or more runs, and the third time since 1974 that the Phillies scored 19 or more runs in the first 5 innings of a game.
Wow.
They did it against the Cubs in '79 in that epic game. Remember that one with Dave Kingman and Mike Schmidt?
Man, that was war.
And then the Mets in '85. Also, I'm going to throw some other stats. Yesterday marked the third time this season that a Philly had 4 or more hits. This is Bohm.
Yeah.
And multiple home runs in a game. It's the first time since 1930 that the Phillies have had 3 instances in a year in which a player had 4 or more hits and multiple home runs in a season. And on the pitching side, the Phillies pitching staff did not walk a batter yesterday. It marked the 8th time this season they have not walked anyone in a game, and the Phillies are now tied for 5th in the baseball with games with no walks issued. So they are getting it done.
Well, and to add to that stat real quick, you're talking about walks. As far as the pitching staff, they were second this past week in baseball in walks given up.
That's great.
Total 9 for the week.
And you need to.
The only one that was better, I'm trying to remember who it was. It might have been Atlanta. I'm thinking, but I'm not sure.
Well, that's what you need to do if you're going to go on the win streaks I was telling you about. That's what you have to do when you want to win 9 straight road games, 6 of 8, 12 of the last 16. All right, that was your Philly Smart Stat of the Week. Once again, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Call them again at 1-866-PAY-EASY.
By the way, Johnny.
That's right. And by the way, Tommy, consider a career at Septa. Septa is hiring a variety of skilled trade positions, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, millwrights, and more. As a Septa employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org. All right, let's get into that game. You got Zach Wheeler on the mound. You need a bit. The game before, which we're not going to talk about.
We needed to win yesterday.
The only thing I'll talk about the game before, Sanchez pitched a very good game.
And deserved to win. He deserved to be considered in that.
He pitched a great game.
Yes, he did.
He gave up the 2-run home run to Stone Garrett, but otherwise, he went. I think he went 6 innings pitched.
And get 1 earned run.
1 earned run because one was on a throwing error by Turner, and he had 1 walk and 6 Ks.
Yeah.
The problem was the hitters. Phillies struck out 12 times. You can't do that. Struck out 12 times. They were 1 for 8 with runners in scoring position.
We've sort of went role reversal this year compared to recent years where we did walk a lot, not strike out quite as much. Or we sort of struck out some, but we walk more.
Right.
We're not walking as much as we used to.
Yeah, and just you can't have. And here's what the 6th inning, we had a golden opportunity. We had a guy in second and third. Well, I think it was first and third, then second and third.
Yeah.
No outs. And the meat of our lineup coming up, right?
Yeah.
So you would think we're going to get at least one run in.
Yeah.
2 pop-ups and a strikeout. Next thing you know, we let him off the hook, and nothing. All right, so that was on Friday.
That was like the old. That was like the old guys.
So we needed it in the worst way, a big output yesterday. Well, what happens, Tommy? We got.
You have enough printing paper for that?
Well, the Nats took the lead. If you remember, the Nats did have a lead at one point yesterday. And then the Fighting Phils come back. They score 6 runs in the third inning. They score 4 runs in the fourth inning. They scored 8 runs in the fifth inning. They sent 29 men to the plate in those 3 innings alone.
Yeah.
They had a grand slam, 3 2-run home runs, 4 doubles, 7 singles, 4 walks, and a sac fly, all in those 3 innings.
Well, you felt like you were at the circus yesterday because there was a merry-go-round going there for 3 innings, right?
And for the hits that wouldn't fall on Friday.
Yeah.
Every Castellanos, Real Muto, every ball that wasn't even. Some of these guys weren't hitting it ball hard, but they were finding. They were seeing eye.
Harper hit one. Yeah, I mean, they just find, and that's the way it goes sometimes. Some guys, like Gore was the receiving, starting to be the starting pitcher to receive some of that.
Right.
You know, then there was other pitchers after that too.
Well, I was gonna say,
but I mean, it didn't matter who was on the mound yesterday.
No,
I think it was just one of those days where the cards come up, aces for us.
Fighting Phils were feeling it. Alec Boehm hit an RBI single in the second, 2-run home run in the third, a 2-run home run in the fourth, another RBI single in the fifth. He is driven in 54 runs at 69 games. He's on pace for 108.
Yeah, and he's missed some time with the injury too, didn't he?
He did a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he's coming clutch up right now.
And then Castellanos had 3 hits, including a 2-run homer in the fourth, an RBI double in the fifth. He's batting .314 with a .863 OPS.
I thought that guy caught that ball, by the way, when Castellanos ball to center.
Yeah.
He made a good. We're waiting for it, and then all of a sudden I saw it appear, roll down the hill. I was like, oh my God! I thought he had it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a beatdown. Everybody contributed. I mean, Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto each drove in 2 runs and scored twice. Trey Turner reached base with nobody out in third, fourth, and fifth innings, scored all 3 times. Schwarber, obviously it's a grand slam. He walked to begin the third inning. He singled to open up the fifth. So literally everybody, and Wheeler, now you get off to that huge lead. It's, Wheeler did kind of melt down a little bit in the, I think it was the fifth inning. Yes, in the fifth inning he gave up 5 hits and 3 runs.
Yeah.
But the game was already in hand, so at that point, right?
Oh, yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, the game's been in hand, but you still, as a starting pitcher, he's not satisfied with the 2 starts he's had this past week.
No.
I mean, that's another thing. Him and, you wouldn't expect him and Nola to be the guys that to tell. You look at the rotation, who pitched well this week.
Yeah,
and they weren't in consideration for it. Neither one of them. Yeah,
Suarez and Walker are pitching like you're one.
And Sanchez. Yeah, but all 3 of them. That's what we talked about this early in the year. You got to have 3 of the 5.
Right, it's a good problem to
going
have.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Going good.
It's a good problem to have when people think that the 3-4 should be the 1-2.
Yeah.
That's a good problem to have.
Yes, it is.
All right, Tommy, consider a career at Septa. Septa relies on and needs bus operators, train engineers, conductors. As a Septa employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org. All right, Tommy, coming up, we're going to talk to James Seltzer. We're going to get his take on the Phillies as we're at the halfway break. We'll talk about the High Hopes podcast. And I know he knows that we're going to be talking about the chugging contest against Jason Kelsey that went all over the internet. It broke the internet on Wednesday. You're listening to Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. We are live from Paso Stowe at Citizens Bank Park.
This is Tommy Greene from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay. BCWSA.net to sign up or for more info. That's BCWSA.net. BCWSA, proven.
Septa offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of your neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank. Here we are, and here we grow.
We now return to the Septa Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazer and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
All right, we are back to the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. We're live in Passastode at Citizens Bank Park. Tommy, we're going to have a sellout today. It's going to be coming off the Friday night fireworks show and drone show, which was awesome.
How was that anyway?
You know what? We had, before we bring on James Seltzer, we'll be bringing on in a minute, but I got to say, we had talked about this drone show. I didn't even know what a drone show.
Yeah.
I know what drones are. I didn't really fully understand, and I almost didn't want to know. I wanted to be surprised, but we kept it as a surprise. Obviously, we got the fireworks to talk about and promote. But I sat and watched the drone show, which happened before the fireworks. And well, first, let's bring him on right now, James. James Seltzer, who has a High Host podcast. You hear him on WIP's morning show.
Yeah.
Did you see anything on social media about the drone show?
I did, and it seems like drone shows are like having a moment.
Right.
I've seen multiple videos in the last couple of days. It's like fireworks on steroids. It's like the coolest thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
That's what I said last night. I said fireworks on steroids.
Right?
And the way they sync it, and obviously in fireworks they sync it too, but just it's cool when you know that it's drones up there and how fast they come into.
How fast.
And
everything materializes.
And so for those that missed it, again, we had it was probably about 8-9 minutes. And we had, it was a time between the end of the game and the fireworks itself. And basically it showed every great moment. So they had Brad Lidge, all the drones would come together. And here's the image of Brad Lidge on his knees celebrating. And you had Harry Callis's call of Brad Lidge striking out Hinsky. They had Mitch Williams, his glove up there, and they had the call, when we clinched against the Braves.
Wow.
They had Bryce Harper, and then obviously they had Fransky's call, Bedlam at the bank, and crowd went nuts there. They had someone hitting it, the ball into the bell itself, and the bell was ringing. I mean, it was really awesome.
Yeah, I saw a few of the images. I didn't see all that. I saw the Lidge image on social media and a few of the movements that they made to switch in and out. And again, it's literally, I think, one of the coolest things I've ever seen. I was absolutely blown away by it.
Someone told me that I think the Flyers and the Sixers did an indoor drone show, which is kind of cool too, right?
Yeah. I saw some other ones. Like there was one in China that I saw on Twitter or whatever, and it's like they were making these big dragons, and then the fire was coming out. It's like it is.
Yeah, I saw one
miraculous.
I saw one in France. It was a big wine bottle pouring into a wine glass.
I saw that one too.
Shocking.
Yeah, right.
All right, so that was on Friday night, and obviously don't take anything away from the fireworks, spectacular. But Saturday, same thing. I know you're here Sunday, but man, I took my daughter, Charlotte, who's here. We went to the game yesterday and obviously saw a lot of fireworks there in the game.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
But then DJ Diesel.
Shaq in the
I've
house.
been promoting it for a couple of weeks and I just wasn't ready for it. I took my daughter down on the field, and it was awesome.
That's cool.
Shaq was totally playing to the crowd.
I mean, he's a showman. He's a performer. One of the greats. As far as that goes, the basketball, TV, the movies, all of it. He knows how to play to a crowd.
And he was totally, and I don't mean this in a negative way, pandering in a good way. He was, he obviously had the Phillies jersey on.
Yeah.
They played Dancing on My Own.
Nice.
They did all kind. They did the Penn State song.
That's cool.
Which I call the Penn State song because I was here to the Penn State.
We are Penn State. Yeah, no doubt.
They did it.
I do. When I hear that song, I sing "We Are Penn State" every time I hear it.
Exactly right. All right, so James.
You didn't try to get him to do the Virginia song, did you?
No. Until we start getting relevant in football, we won't be doing that.
Everyone be like, what is this? What's playing
exactly.
right now? Yeah.
Like I had to throw that in just to give
little
him
needle.
We gotta
we
got to go back to the
right
Tiki
there.
Barber days.
I went to Temple, so I don't have much to say when it comes to football
Well, you
programs.
had Matt Rule had a couple.
Yeah, we had a moment. I was
you had
Al
some moments.
Golden. There was a moment there.
Yeah,
We had a little bit of Dazio was okay, but
I get to turn the screws to all of you. I don't have no favoritism. I signed out of high school, so I'm like.
All right, James, we are one game past the halfway point. So, as you know, again, you have the High Hopes podcast. Give us your assessment now, where we are now, and what you see going forward.
Yeah, look, I think we've seen the turn. I think that obviously the slow start, the frustrating first couple months of the season, then we hit June. They play great baseball, obviously frustrating because, the Marlins, the Braves, the Giants, all these other teams are playing great as well. But I think we've seen this team finally remember who they are and look like this is the team we expected to start the season. The team with motivation and attitude. And I thought yesterday was a perfect, because we've had, some ups and downs throughout the season. Obviously early on, the 5-game losing streak, 6-game, the whole
it's going
thing.
back and forth.
And then they turned the corner and had that big winning streak, the 12-14 at one point, that whole thing. And then it felt like that game against Washington was such a letdown game. And I heard it on the radio, people being like, oh, I thought we were back. And I'm like, it's one game. Relax. And I thought yesterday, seeing them come out and let us know that they felt that way too, that they knew they just didn't show up for a game, I thought was a really good sign. It's like, all right, they got this.
I also, the way I see it too, and I totally agree, that when you're coming off last year, a lot of our guys were pitching deep, obviously, into the season. So there's going to be some, not a hangover, but there's going to just their arms, a little wear and tear.
No doubt.
So you knew that kind of Zach Wheeler and Nola were going to kind of get off.
Totally.
Suarez was coming off an injury, and he, didn't pitch a lot.
His spring training was those first 3 starts that he struggled, and then he's been brilliant.
Lights
since
out.
then.
Taijuan Walker is new to the team.
Totally.
Again, got off to a slow start. So it's almost all everything bad that could have happened.
He pitched in the World Classic too.
He did. Yeah, you're right. So he had a different type of spring training. That's another good point.
I don't know if I'm a.
It's a great point. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm a fan of.
I think that affects the pitchers even more. Hitters too, because it's not the daily at bats and all that. But I think pitchers even more, not having their normal spring.
It's great you're getting the world involved.
Yeah, no, it's great.
But don't get me wrong, but. I just I worry about the health of guys.
Me too.
Well, luckily it's every 4 years, right? So
3, I think.
3 is it? Right. So then then that has a trickle effect to the bullpen. If you remember the bullpen now, because the pitchers are going shorter, they're getting rocked. They're whatever. So now you're putting in guys in uncomfortable positions when they're still trying to find their place.
Yeah, Belotti's arm almost fell off after the first month of the season. I'm shocked he made it through.
Well,
I know exactly.
And so all of a sudden, then they starting pitcher starts, doing well, and then that goes along with the bullpen finding their spot. I tell you, the one surprise for me, and I'd like to get your take. I guess I know that Craig Kimbrell obviously has tons of success.
Yes,
but I think coming into it, I looked at that move. I was more excited, honestly, about probably Soto than I was about Kimbrell.
Yeah,
and Kimbrell has. I wouldn't be surprised if I know the reserves are being announced today at 5:00. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Kimbrell and Castellanos on the All-Star team.
So
I can't believe Castellanos.
Off the
bat.
I expected Castellanos to bounce back. I didn't expect him to get back to where he was. I've been so impressed with that. But for me, John, the Craig Kimbrell thing has been my single biggest surprise with this team. I thought he was cooked.
Right.
I really did. I mean, he wasn't even on the Dodgers postseason roster. I thought this guy had nothing left in the tank. He's a Dombrowski guy. He's just bringing him in. And he's been amazing.
Been great.
He has been, and it's not just the results, obviously, 12 for 12 and all that stuff, but it's the eye test. You watch this guy, the stuff is better than it's been the last few years. So
and it sort of happens like that sometimes.
Credit to a new situation.
It's a hard game.
And also, credit to the Phillies pitching and biomechanics and all these guys and all these changes they're making. Clearly, stuff is working.
Well, it is a hard game, and it takes a toll on you year after year after year. Sometimes you have to change things up a little bit and figure out what makes it work again, physically.
Well, especially when you
might
lose
have to change your
right?
routine.
Yeah, sure.
Your routine needs to change. You could add some, take away some that you might be doing that might revive you a little bit, because everybody's trying to figure out the magic pill, that thing that you could take. And the analytics thing. It's not that we didn't have analytics before. we just got more numbers for things that
Totally.
we normally had words for back in the thing.
It's just information.
We had the eye test.
Yep.
You know, a lot.
Your analytics is Johnny Padres and the pitch count.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. Hey,
Tell them that story real quick.
Real quick. I mean, Fagosi used to, we didn't ever have the pitch count up on the board
Sure.
or the radar gun, and you either got people out or you didn't. But we'd be pitching in a game, and I think Jimmy just tried to keep Johnny involved. He wanted Johnny to have a little clicker, just keep the pitches,
Sure.
right? And he turned back and says, "What's he got, Johnny?" And if we were pitching good, it was always 10 to 15 less than what we had.
Right, sure.
And if we were struggling a little bit, not pitching as well, it was always 10 to 15 more. And Fagosi, and he was always trying to take care of his pitchers,
Yeah.
And Fagosi come out. He told us one night we were sitting there having a few pops after. He said, Pods thinks he's slipping one on me. He says, I know exactly what he's doing. I'm just trying to keep him involved.
That's
he says,
great.
I don't need a clicker to tell me what my eyes
exactly.
tell me.
That's great.
About what's going on out
Yeah.
there. So he says, I know y'all guys probably better than you know yourself.
Yeah.
All right, one more baseball question, then we're going to get into a beer question.
Yes.
All right, so we have the trade deadline, which is in a month, right? Now, it's really interesting. Normally, you would say we would need a fifth pitcher, but, you do have prospects of possibly Painter coming back, and you got Sanchez pitching, actually been pitching well.
I mean, Sanchez has earned the right. I mean,
bullpen, bat, but, again, if you're the GM, if you're Dombrowski, what are some of the needs you think could fill some holes to make the Phillies that much better?
Yeah, so, I think for the first, 2 months of the season, it was for fifth starter. We need another guy. This isn't going to work. What were they, 2-10 or something with the opener and Bailey Falter and all that?
Opener.
But Sanchez has been great. And honestly, I think it's been more important just the other four guys have really, particularly, Ranger, Taiwan, have really righted their ships.
Right.
Where ultimately, look, I think if you look at this team right now, the biggest issue is power. The biggest issue is offense, is hitting home runs, is hitting the ball out of the park, getting big hits. So, big time, right? So the way I look at this, and again, if you think about it in the playoffs, a fifth starter, unless you really go for it and get a high-end guy who's really going to be your second or whatever, they're not even going to pitch for you in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They're going to be like Kyle Gibson, who's in mop-up duty
Right.
or whatever, whereas you go get a Paul Goldschmidt or whoever it is, especially at first base right now, the way it is, then we don't have to worry about moving Harper there. We can just let Harper's arm heal like it is, and then, you put Goldschmidt in this lineup, that they need more offense, they need more power. It's the most important
And the
thing.
good news is we made the move
Yeah.
today
I like
where
that.
Derek Hall is coming up.
Huge.
And
And
now we've got maybe 3 weeks or so to see whether
Totally. What he's got.
what he's got. Because if he's got that power output,
Exactly.
then you don't need to put Bryce, right? They're both left-handed.
Totally, yeah.
You don't need to put Bryce at first base, and then you live with Schwarber in left field, and you do all that. So,
and then,
I guess-
then you never know what you might run into. You never.
Totally.
There's nothing like you never have enough pitching. Ever.
But it's interesting,
Ever.
too, in the
You
outfield, you got
so-
Pache, who's filled a great role. Harrison, you're not moving him. He fills a very good role. Obviously, you got Sosa, who fills a very good
Yeah.
role.
They have good bench guys. The problem is the bench guys have been pressed into playing too much.
Right.
Edmundo Sosa is the perfect first guy off the bench.
Right.
The problem is he's playing every day because of all the injuries and
Right.
release and stuff like that. So, the more they can get a guy to kind of push everyone back, then it's the roster's kind of perfect.
Well, that's what this is a huge time. What Brazer said, I think them bringing up Hall.
Yep.
Is hoping that power production that he had
What he did last year.
What
They
he
need
did
it
last year
desperately.
comes to the forefront again, and he takes off on that ship going again. Because that power at the corner is what we need.
Big time.
That's what we're missing, and that way it kind of cuts. Hey, if he stays, it might it might change their thinking on what do we do?
No doubt.
Is there a possibility? Can we get some? You never know. Pitching. Can't, like I said, can't have enough of it.
I
You
agree.
get a chance to
I
get
agree.
somebody that can make
And
a difference.
And then when you look at the bullpen, you've got two guys, Brogdon and Bellotti, that are down in AAA.
And Bellatti's been on fire
on
down
fire.
there.
So I know the ones that are probably the first ones to move are
Those two.
Covey and Hoffman.
Yeah.
Right.
And well, Covey, it's weird. I think he's the mop-up guy. I almost feel like he's his own role where it's you need the dude when you're up 10 or down 10.
Well,
Right, right.
well, see,
in the
that's.
innings.
And believe it or not, you need guys like
You
that.
do, I know,
You
yeah.
know, back
Well,
in the
Nelson
day.
was that last
Back in the
year.
day,
Yeah.
I was the. One of the long men out of the pen.
Sure.
We didn't have but 5 guys in the pen.
Yeah.
So somebody had to be able to eat innings.
Yeah.
You know, just in case the starter does struggle.
Yep.
You know, so basically it's a starter converted.
Totally.
You know, I mean,
those are important guys for the season.
Yeah,
to get through a long
and then
season.
you end up pitching in roles. You get confidence, and things change, and you end up. You never know what might end up with this dude.
Especially when,
know?
like we talked about, where guys pitch deep into late October, November last year. Like
Yep.
you got to be ready for even if you want to give a guy a month of a break before the playoffs, or give him some time off to rest. Even if they're not
the Rays
all
do
that
6-man rotation, which
Yeah,
I guess
the Phillies did
give
it with
everybody
Wheeler
extra
last
day,
year.
yeah.
Like Wheeler last year. Like I know he had the injury, but I feel like that was partially like, all right, we need to make sure we got this guy when
Right.
it really matters.
Yeah.
All right, before we let you go, obviously we got to talk about
Yes.
you made national news, maybe even international news.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
World news.
Yes, by losing, which is
by
always fun.
losing.
Hey, that's all right. You
Now-
enjoyed doing it.
No, it was
Jason
awesome.
Jason Kelsey,
was a thrill, man.
who's one of the greatest guys you'll ever meet.
Without a doubt.
Jason Kelsey had a charity event down in Seattle City, and he had found out, right, that you were a big chugger.
Correct.
Right, and on the air, he challenged
He
you.
challenged me
On the
which
air,
is-
just
yeah.
out of nowhere.
Hey.
Out of
And
nowhere.
And I heard it.
Yeah.
I heard it live,
Yeah.
and you were very surprised.
I was.
I'm sure honored.
Yes.
And then tell us what went down. This happened on Wednesday morning.
Correct. So yes. So I was not expecting 32-ounce beers.
That's the thing.
That's
That was
what
the
came
twist.
out.
That was the twist.
And you know what? Credit to him. We never set any rules. It was I thought it was going to be less, and
Go
it was
big, go home.
strategic.
Wait, so it was strategic. It wasn't just
Oh,
random.
it was
like,
strategic.
Okay,
yeah,
so,
he told me. We're going to do a rematch at some point down the road with a little bit less beer. But also, you know what? Like, there was no losing for
How
me.
close?
You know, it was such
How
a
close?
thrill to get. So it's the shame is that he did it so fast that it almost made it look like I wasn't going that fast. Like, I'm with him for the first 2 seconds, and then he just goes. So I probably had like this much beer left when he finished. So I was respectable. I finished the beer, like the whole thing. But I don't know if there's a human alive who could have done faster.
and
than
then
him in
he
that
hung
moment.
out all day in Seattle City.
All day, dude. The thing about Jason Kelsey, to your point before, he is as good a human as I have ever met in this city, in this industry, like players, all that stuff. Like, he is thoughtful, caring. He actually cares about people. Like, he goes out and meets people because, like, he wants to, and he enjoys doing it, and also because he knows how much it means to people. He's a hell of a human.
Tommy, after the I think I told this story before, but after the Jason Kelsey slammed a beer with the Fanatic during the World Series,
Mm-hmm.
I basically was his escort coming in. We're talking, and he loved my title. I gave him a card, Director of Fun Games. We talked lacrosse. I found out he played lacrosse, and it blew my mind. And I said, obviously you were a defenseman. He said, no, it was a crease attack. I'm like,
Wild.
what? Like, no wonder that's probably perfect because he blots out the goalie. Goalie
Yeah.
can't see anything. And then we started somehow we got on the subject ice hockey. And I said, I've been playing ice hockey all my life. He's like, so have I. I'm like, what? I'm like,
What don't you do?
I'm trying to picture this guy like, if you're going into the corner for a puck and you got Jason Kelsey barreling
Oh,
down.
my goodness.
Like you want to just get out of
Yeah,
Dodge,
it's
right?
called pancake, man.
So yeah, but anyway, on the Monday after that, he mentioned, someone asked him about the Fanatic, had that come about, and he said, well, I met this guy John Brazer who he said no, he couldn't remember my last name. He goes, met this guy John who's got the greatest title, Director of Fun and Games. And all the media were the same media that I know. They're like,
course.
Brazier. He's like, yeah, that's the guy. Well, anyway, Director of Fun and Games.
That's the
blah,
guy.
blah, right.
But again, that's the point. Like, the
Right.
fact that he even took the time to remember your title,
Exactly.
to remember your name, to shout you out there, like that is such a perfect insight into who Jason
and
Kelsey
that's
is.
who he is, too.
Well,
What
he's
a
the
great
best.
title,
But
man.
hold up. The best title in the history of
Yes.
jobs. I don't
Yes.
care what other job there is in the world.
Yes.
It's not better.
I've told everyone they can steal it if they want. So if you want to be the Director
Okay,
of Fun
good,
and Games
good.
for the High Hopes podcast
Yes.
or whatever
I
you
like
want to do.
this.
All right, James, great having you on
Sharing
today.
the love,
guys.
Brazier. I see that.
Anytime.
Great having you
What
on,
a
man.
pleasure,
Hey,
guys.
awesome,
Thank you.
guys.
And I'm going to see you in a little bit after the show.
We'll be here.
All right, coming up in the show, we're going to have Dave Shaw, who's the UK Phillies
Love
Twitter
Dave
guy.
Shaw.
Podcast.
Shout out to Dave Shaw.
We're going to learn all about the London Series last weekend and talk about the London Series next June 8th and 9th in London. We'll talk about that. You're listening to Septa Baseball Insiders Show presented by BCWSA. We're live from Passing Stowe at Citizens Bank Park.
You're listening to 1490 WBCB, Levittown, Fairless Hills, Trenton, and now heard as well on FM at 107.3 FM, W297CL, Levittown.
BCWSA customers, former Phillies pitcher Tommy Greene here. I played on the 1993 National League champs, so I know a thing or two about what it's like playing on a winning team. BCWSA has all the ingredients. They make it easy for their customers to get automatic updates by text, email, or phone anytime there is a disruption in your service area. You can even customize your alerts by going to bcwsa.net. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, your partner for a safer environment. BCWSA, prove it.
Septa offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of your neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank. Here we are, and here we grow.
Septa offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
We now return to the Septa Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazer and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
All right, we are back to the Septa Baseball Insider Show, presented by BCWSA. We are live from Pass Stowe at Citizens Bank Park. I'm John Brazer, joined by Tommy Greene. You can watch the show live at WBCBSports.com or search WBCB Sports on YouTube. You can listen to the show on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, your station in Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer County.
Is that a Brazier back in the day? Is that you used to dress like that? You know,
that is a Philly sports guy with the painted face.
Wait, did you used to do that back in the day?
Wahoo,
whatever you call it down in Virginia?
I did not. I did not, Tommy, believe it or not.
Hey, believe it or not.
Believe it or not.
Yeah.
Let's bring on Dave Shaw, who's coming all the way over from England, from the UK. He is the most famous social media correspondent, I'll call him, for any major league team, because he has the biggest Twitter followers, has a very wildly successful podcast. And Dave, welcome back.
Having a tough time breathing today with the humidity.
Very humid, more humid than the UK. But you just came back from a weekend in where you live, the London series. How cool is that?
Incredible. It blew any expectation I had. And next year, guys, we're in for a treat.
I can't wait.
It is. The best way to describe it is it's a festival, and it's a week-long festival. It's not just about the 2 games. There is so much going on in and around London. It's going to be a blast. The wins against the Mets will be a bonus, because what goes on in and around London in the build-up to the game as well, Passyunk Avenue is going to be incredible.
Passyunk Avenue is the cheesesteak place that was owned by J.P. Teddy, who's from South Philly.
Yeah.
Who, when the Eagles played the Jaguars, he blocked off the whole street. They make authentic cheesesteaks in London, but what I didn't know until we had Dave on our podcast is that he now has 4 locations?
He has 4 locations. One very next to the London Stadium, where the game will be. Interactive batting cages there. So much going on. He's got one in Waterloo, which is a real authentic Philly dive bar feel to it. All decked out in Philly. Pitch black. You know, it's dark, a real dive bar feel.
That's me.
Yeah. You will love it.
I will love that.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. You know what, Dave? We're going to give your headsets to, because you're going to like this. We're going to give this to Jason Firestone, because he's going to describe the food that you're about to get as being as our guest. So, Jason, let's put you on real quick. Why don't you take Dave's headset on for 1 minute. All right. What do we have here, man? Last week you
right there.
Last week you had the turkey leg.
Yep.
And now Dave is eyeing up what we got here. So you got a little Mediterranean? Is this a gyro?
Yeah. So that's a gyro and our chicken parm pesto. So that's from Greens and Grains, our new partner, right here behind home plate with Section 125. All plant-based.
Okay.
All plant-based.
Wow. And then what is this right here?
So
diabetic nightmare.
It's a mason jar. Now you can see if you're watching on YouTube, it is a mason jar. And what is in there?
So that's our summer special over at the yard. So the kids area over the yard by the wiffle ball field, that's a cotton candy milkshake.
Oh my God.
Wow.
My blood sugar just went woo, woo, woo.
My dog, yes. And this is
a chicken parm pesto, and that's your classic gyro. So,
but is that chicken in there? Or is it?
No, it's all plant-based.
Plant-based.
Yeah, all plant. You wouldn't even tell. I do not eat vegetarian, but that chicken parm is a good sandwich.
Greens and Grains.
Greens and Grains.
I know when you did the big tasting in the beginning of the year, I know that was one of my favorites. So
yep.
That's awesome. Well, I think you top. I mean, I didn't think you could top last week, and now look what you did here.
Yeah.
All right.
We're going all out this year.
Jason, I really appreciate it. Now let's get back to Dave, because Dave he's going to taste one of these things.
Yes, he is.
And let us know what he thinks. Thanks, Jason. Really appreciate it.
Oh, he's going to taste and drink one of them freaking things.
First of all, I'm going to give one to my daughter, Charlotte. But Dave,
where's Charlotte?
Do you want this?
How do we even eat this?
You won't eat it?
How do we?
How do you eat it?
We got spoons? Are we going all in?
We'll use
you
a
can try
straw.
that.
Try the straw. All right, and then as our guest, you get a choice. Do you want the gyro or do you want the chicken parm?
Chicken parm. Let's go with chicken parm.
Chicken parm. Very Philly of you right there.
Yeah, on brand.
All right, see that? How many times have you been a guest on a show where you've actually gotten food as your
Never. This is the first, and I'm not complaining. This is incredible.
All right, so during the London, we were talking about the London series between the Cubs and the Cardinals.
Yep.
As you mentioned, there was a lot of entertainment going on around the game. So a lot of squares, like Trafalgar Square, right? Had a big.
To Trafalgar Square, massive landmark in the central of London, was completely decked out in interactive batting cages. They had a big home run X tournament, which Jay Roll and Ryan Howard took part in as well. Food stalls, all Chicago and St. Louis based. Chicago and St. Louis flew a whole load of chefs out from their regions to cook the authentic food, so it was as authentic as you can get. So I can't wait to see what Philly going to do next year.
Yeah.
Loads of merchandise stalls, big screens showing the London Series game and other baseball games. The best way to get, because for us, it's about getting new fans involved as well. Because we're trying to grow the sport in the UK.
Like you in 2012.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, so a great chance for people to see the game live and get involved. The interactive batting cages are a great way of doing that. Buying some merchandise. The food is a huge seller as well. And then you've got other bars. The Cubs had their own bar. They took over a bar by Trafalgar Square. They had old players going in there for meetups and meet and greets and parties. Like, the parties don't stop.
Sure.
Yeah, that's not shocking.
London doesn't sleep. And if London can do one thing so well, it's always throw massive sporting events. They did not fail to deliver in London this week just gone. And now for us, because we had the Red Sox Yankees in 2019, then COVID took over and we lost all the momentum. So the Cubs game felt like, right, we're back. And then next year for the Mets and Phils, we're going all at it.
And they're playing at where West Ham plays.
That's right, yeah.
Which is in East London.
They're in Stratford,
right?
Yeah,
Stratford.
So dead easy to get to from the central London. In fact, from most areas, even around London. 20 minutes on the tube. You're there, easy, cheap. It's perfect.
And they put, again, now if you picture a soccer field as basically a rectangle, so they put where's the wall? Like, if you're looking at the soccer stadium.
It's really, they completely turn it around and transform it. So it's so hard to describe because it is a complete transformation.
You would never know it's a soccer field.
You would
when
never
you're walking in.
Never know it's a soccer field. Never.
But the dimensions are pretty much fair to.
Yeah, so because when the Red Sox Yankees came, it was a wild 19-15 game. So it's like we gotta raise the walls. We gotta do something here, and so. Left field and the outfield for us here was pretty much the same size as they've made the walls. And it was had a proper feel to this game. It had a real season feel. The scoring was good. It was close. There wasn't Yankees, Red Sox were hitting home runs constantly towards the River Thames. It was ridiculous.
And that was also the same stadium, Olympic Stadium.
Yeah. So they made a lot of improvements. The scoring was a lot lower. It was a real competitive game as well. The atmosphere is unique and it's incredible. It's such a feel-good atmosphere down there. You've got, I'd say 40%, no, I'd say probably a good 50-50 were American fans who traveled over and expats over in Europe and London already.
Yeah.
Then you had newcomers to the sport, UK fans, base fans like myself. Then newcomers to the sport. I could hear so many people explain the rules to the newcomers, and they were getting it, and they were enjoying it. There's nothing like learning a new sport than being there, which is the main thing for us, obviously trying to grow the sport. So that was incredible.
Did the team mascots come?
They both did. They both came. So the Fanatic in London.
London's in for a treat.
Oh, yeah.
London has no idea what's coming.
I remember when I went to the Eagles-Jaguars game, what you said, you get a lot of fans from all over the country or all over the continent of Europe.
Yeah.
But you get a lot of fans that would come in with different jerseys. Even though the Jaguars were playing the Eagles, you saw fans coming in Steelers and Chiefs.
Yeah.
So it's a great way for fans that live abroad, whether they're European American or whatever nationality, to come over and support their team.
Loads of Europeans.
Even though it's the Phillies Mets, but they're only going to be able to see that 2 games over there.
I managed to get a picture with every fan wearing every different jersey from every team. That's every team's represented. It was majority Cubs. They flew thousands over. When I flew out here on Tuesday, Heathrow Airport was just a sea of blue Cubs. It was it was incredible. And I know Phillies fans travel well, so I cannot wait for the Phillies invasion. I've already had the 7-line army in my DMs going, we're going to take over London. I'm like, you guys have no idea.
That's right.
How well Philly
totally
travels.
All right, Dave, give us your Twitter handle, because again, one of the most popular Twitter follows you can do.
At UK Phillies on Twitter and Instagram, and then we've got the Facebook group as well, which is a really cool, nice community as well. So,
then your podcast.
Broad Street to Britain. Going really well. Have some real cool guests on. Got some really good guests lined up.
Brazer and Burgoyne?
Absolutely. It needs to happen. James Seltzer, who just had on,
yeah.
He's been on this year. He'll be coming back on as well. Jack Fritz has been on.
Tommy Greene, a guy.
And we've got to get Tommy on.
We've got to
get Tommy on. And we've got a few surprises coming up as well, which we're just sorting out the finer details of. So there's going to be some really cool guests. The podcast is going from strength to strength. It's unbelievable how many people listen and send messages of, we love you, love what you do. And because it's just me, a British guy with my friend Alex, just talking Phils in a British accent.
Tommy,
that's awesome. It's like me talking in a Southern accent.
Right.
I took Dave to lunch. I guess was that last year or this year? Was it
April? Yeah,
it was April. Oh my God, time flies. And I remember that we're walking through the streets of Philadelphia, and like a couple people went up to him, and was like, "Hey, Dave, Twitter guy, what's up, man?" Like UK guy.
It blows my mind.
Yeah, it's
honestly
crazy.
It does, and it's flattering. It's surreal. People just. So the friendliness of Philly is just hospitality every time is just out of this world.
And when are you flying back?
The night of July the 4th.
Okay.
So I'm going to see the celebrations and see how you guys do it, and then.
You going to compare it to Guy Fawkes Day?
no comparison.
Tommy's like, what's going on over here?
Okay. What were you talking about before on air about the cricket?
Oh, the Ashes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have no clue.
I said, Tommy, who's going to win the Ashes match today? And the Ashes is a cricket match that's always between Australia and England.
I have no clue how to play that. It probably started like a week ago.
Yeah, it's a best of 5 series.
Yeah. And the games last forever.
5 days.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
5 days, and there can be a draw, which is I know.
5 days of playing and nothing comes out of it.
Exactly.
All right. Dave, you got one last job, and that's to bring us a win today. And thank you very much.
Yes.
We are going to stay in touch. And
absolutely, yeah.
Dave Shaw, thanks for coming on.
Try this.
Safe travels. Enjoy that milkshake and enjoy the chicken parm.
No chance, man. You got to pick it up and slug it.
Coming up on the show, we'll talk more Phillies baseball with Tommy Greene, and we will get you set up for today's game. You're listening to Septa Baseball Insiders Show presented by BCWSA, live from Paso Stowe at Citizens Bank Park.
This is Tommy Greene from the 1993 National League champion Phillies. And here's the pitch. BCWSA water and sewer customers, you have a new and improved option to pay your bill that's convenient, reliable, and secure. Powered by Invoice Cloud, you can pay your bill 24/7 online, pay by text or phone, or sign up for AutoPay to avoid fees for late or missed payments. Visit bcwsa.net to sign up or for more info. That's bcwsa.net. BCWSA, proven.
Septa offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
From Philadelphia to the Lehigh Valley and everywhere in between. For 150 years, Penn Community Bank has been a part of your neighborhood. Helping businesses start, supporting families as they grow, and staying connected to the people and places that make this region special. It's who we are and where we're from. Penn Community Bank. Here we are, and here we grow.
Septa offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
We now return to the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies Director of Fun and Games John Brazer and former pitcher from the '93 National League champion Phillies, Tommy Greene.
All right, we are back to Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA. We are live from Paso Stowe at Citizens Bank Park. I am John Brazer, joined by T. Greene. T, great show so far. We've always had a good one. Obviously, Dave, such a super guest. We have him. I got to plug my podcast that Tom Burgoyne and I, Backstage Burgoyne and Brazer, on July 7th, I think, or 8th. July 7th or 8th, we're going to post our podcast episode with Dave. Right now we got Cody Clemens. Unfortunately, Cody just got sent down, but I'm sure he'll be back at some point.
Exactly.
But we have a big match tonight. I'm going.
Yeah, you're going back. You're going
since Dave
to
was
England.
Since Dave was sitting down, I'm putting it in English vernacular.
Well, he's going back to your day when you spent your time over there.
Up in Manchester, yep. All right, so here's the lineup. Now, the Fightin' Phils, we'll go Nationals first. Logan Thomas playing right field, leading off. They got Candelaria playing third. They got Joey Meneses, who's a former Lehigh Valley Iron Pig, batting third. Garrett, who is Stone Garrett, who's the one who hit the home run on Friday night. He's batting fourth. Smith is batting fifth. First base, Vargas shortstop. Chavez second base. Adams catcher. Hill playing center field. And then pitching is Trevor Williams. Trevor Williams was on the Mets. He's on a couple other teams.
Yeah.
He is 4-4 with a 4.28 ERA. He's started 16 games, Tommy, and he's given up 16 home runs. So I'm thinking the home run barrage could continue today.
Yeah.
Against the Phils, he actually faced off against Ranger Suarez on June 4th. Fightin' Phils won 11-3. Trevor Williams gave up in 5 2/3. He gave up 6 hits, 4 earned runs, gave up 2 home runs, one to Real Muto, one to Drew Ellis, who's no longer on the team, 4 walks, 6 Ks. So the way that Ranger's been going, he has a 1.35 ERA in his last 6 starts. I don't want to jinx him, but and he pitched.
No, he's commanded everything he's thrown real well.
You know, they compared him to Cliff Lee on the air, and I can't disagree with that. Where he just gets up there, doesn't think too much, and just throws, and he keeps the ball low.
He executes and changes speeds.
He doesn't have a wasted pitch, right? You don't see a wasted pitch.
He's the epitome of a pitcher, and exactly what it is. I mean, he throws hard enough, he moves it in and out, and he changes speeds to make his fastball better. And I mean, he's for the most part, he stays out of the middle of the plate.
Yep.
So I mean, that's a pretty good recipe for success as a pitcher.
Now, this is not the scariest lineup, but again, any major league team can beat anybody, as we saw on Friday night.
Hey, don't let these guys fool you. They actually swing the bat real good.
They do. But Ranger went 7 innings pitched, 8 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 3 Ks against the Nationals on June 4th. So let's hope we do that. All right, how about this week in baseball, Tommy, where Domingo Germán.
How about that?
Domingo Germán pitched a perfect game versus the A's. Now, this is a guy who's had his troubles. He had, in 2019, There was a domestic violence case. He missed the whole 2020 season. Also, this year, May 28th, umpire James Hoy said that about German that he had the stickiest hand he's ever felt after he pitched 3 hitless innings. But he on Wednesday pitched against the A's. He pitched a perfect game. 9 innings pitched, obviously 0 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 walks, 9 Ks. He threw 99 pitches. It was the first perfect game since 2012, Felix Hernandez, Seattle. So,
I tell you what, that's a remarkable feat, and I've heard a little bit. I mean, you read a little bit about people not giving him his props what it is because it was against the A's. It doesn't matter if it's against a Babe Ruth team out there.
Before we play the A's,
it's unbelievable.
Before we played the A's had won 8 games in a row, I think.
It's unbelievable. So, I mean, people that shows you people who don't play the game don't understand the game.
Right.
Like it needs to be. That's a great feat, what that young man did, and he needs to be given his props for it.
All right. Well, I'm going to say another feat that you got to comment on this one. How about this guy? I heard someone talking about that this guy, when he becomes a free agent this year, should get the money as a pitcher and then get separate money as a hitter, which kind of makes a lot of sense because Ohtani is just crazy this year. He's been
crazy every year.
He became the first American League pitcher in nearly 60 years to homer twice and strike out 10. He leads the majors. This is one of the best pitchers in the game. He leads the majors with 30 home runs. The last guy to do it, when I said 60 years ago, was Pedro Ramos, July 31st, 1963. The only pitchers that have done this, again, 2 home runs in a game and 10 strikeouts, is Milt Pappas, Rick Wise, obviously with the Phillies, 2 home runs. That's the greatest game of all time.
Yeah.
Greatest no-hitter and 2 home runs. Madison Bumgarner and Zach Greinke, they all did it. So
it doesn't matter. I mean, Madison. I mean, both every one of those guys can swing the bat, man. I mean, Greinke, Bumgarner, all those guys can swing the bat. They were good athletes.
Yep. So that is that. And then the other thing, Tommy, is that when you look at the stats, here's another crazy stat. Luis Arraez, okay? Luis Arraez.
That guy can flat out hit.
He got traded from the Minnesota Twins to the Marlins. Now, the Marlins gave up Pablo Lopez, who's a very good, young, promising pitcher. I guess Twins, felt that maybe they could get that Arraez is expendable because he's not a power guy, right, in their mind. But all this guy has hit. He's hitting .388. You know what the next guy in the major leagues?
Oh, it cooled off a little bit.
Yeah, because he was right around 400. Do you know what the next guy is that's behind Arraez?
Probably like 305.
Ronald Acuna Jr., who is 55 points lower
he's about
than
330.
Luis Arraez. So that is amazing. All right, again, we're going to give
you –
That
is amazing because Acuna's been on fire. Yeah.
And he's also – Acuna's got the stolen base. He's got the whole package.
He's got the whole package, power, everything.
Just like Ohtani, just crazy. All right, the Fighting Phils right now, 11 games back with the Braves, 3 games back with the Marlins. Now, we've got a big series against Tampa, 3 games. We do miss Shane McClanahan, which is great. Great matchup on Tuesday. You got Zach Eflin versus Nola. And then Friday we got the Marlins. So we will be big series against the Marlins.
Oh, yeah.
We do face –
we need to beat some of these guys that are ahead of us.
We face Alcantara, which, again, we seem to do well against them. All right, and that wraps up today's Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by BCWSA live from Paso Stowe at Citizens Bank Park. Thanks to my co-host Tommy Greene, our on-site engineer Chris Ermer, back in the studio, Brooks St. Ives. Thanks also to our guest today, Jason Firestone. We had James Seltzer. We had the Phillies UK
Seltzer.
Twitter
He's not
podcast
tall
guy,
either.
Dave Shaw. And thanks to you for listening. We'll be back next Sunday at Keenan's in North Wildwood from 12:30 to 1:30 for the Phillies take on the Marlins. Have a great week, and as the late, great Harry the K says,
we're out of here.
You've been listening to the Septa Baseball Insider Show presented by Lactico. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of 1490 AM, heard throughout the world at WBCB1490.com.